Hey y'all, welcome to Poppy Joe's Pastures. My name is Sarah, my husband's name is Doug, and we are the owners here at Poppy Joe's. We are first generation farmers, we are dreamers, and we are here to serve our community through everything that we learn on this farm journey for our first time. This is our first YouTube video, the whole new world for us. It's a new world for me talking to the camera. I've been posting on our other social medias like Instagram and TikTok for a few months now if you want to check out kind of our journey there with some shorter videos, but I really saw YouTube as an opportunity to provide more valuable content in a longer form and just really have it almost as like a video diary that also we could look back on through the years. And so today's video, our first video, what I really wanted to do was kind of just like a farm tour, a raw land tour. Now, like I said, we moved on to this land about 4 months ago, so this isn't exactly what it looked like when we moved here, but it's relatively close. We have done a lot in the past 4 months, but there's obviously so much more that we want to do. I wanted to give a little bit more background about us and how we got here, how we found the land and everything. So Doug and I met in 2022 at our old company. So we met on a job, and he works in government contracting business development and I'm in cybersecurity. We both have moved companies, so we no longer work together, but when we met each other, I was living in DC, Doug was living in Atlanta, and through a lot of Zoom calls, I started to develop some strong feelings for this man. And long story short, I packed up my car one day and I moved to Atlanta. And this fella, Dougie, he kept talking to me about this idea of wanting to buy land. And it just clicked for me in that moment that I'm on board. Like, I am here with you. I like the sound of buying land, and I definitely want to be a part of that journey. And I did not use this man to buy land, so no, don't come saying that. But just for me and kind of my background, I was vegan for 4 years, which I know, like, who cares that you were freaking vegan for 4 years? But truly for me, I thought my purpose and calling in life was to have a vegan food blog. I had the vegan Instagram, I posted the recipes, and like truly, all I could ever think about was opening a vegan restaurant in a city. Like, I wanted to be in a city with a vegan restaurant. And then I meet this man who says he wants to buy land, and all of a sudden, I'm eating meat again. I want to buy land. Screw the city, take me to the country. So a lot has changed, but for me, and kind of why I found so much purpose and passion in this is taking it back to the vegan days, for me at least. There was kind of an obsession for me with the source of our food. And I've always loved farmers markets. I've always loved connecting with farmers. Like, I want to shake the hand of the person who's growing my food, of who's raising my food. And that's always kind of been a mindset, a value of mine with food. And so when Doug said, I really want to buy land, it just made sense to me. I don't want a restaurant. I don't even want to be freaking vegan anymore. I want to grow the food that the restaurants use. Now, let's take it back a step. That has changed. Like, I'm not trying to fill a grocery store with vegetables. I'm not trying to stock a restaurant's menu full of produce. What we want to do and what we dream of doing is using our land to grow food, vegetables, fruits, all the things, herbs, medicines, whatever it is. We want to use our land to raise animals, goats, chickens, cows, and we want to provide whatever we can back to our community, back to our loved ones, because I believe that God created me to serve people through food. And so that's what we're here to do. And there's obviously way more to that too now. I didn't think buying land, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel and social media pages and share the journey, but just knowing how I felt, knowing that I want land, knowing that I want to be in the country, but I'm in a studio apartment in the city. I know that feeling of having a dream that consumes you to your core and you're not living it, and you almost feel stuck in a way. But beyond serving our community through food, you know, I realized that social media, as much as I want to say I hate it, it's an amazing way to share a journey like this and to use it to inspire other people, to serve other people through the lessons, the mistakes, the failures, everything that we're experiencing on the farm. Because I know we're not the only first generation farmers out there, and I know that there are so many people that feel like we did, when we're in the city, when we wanted to be in the country. You're reading books, you're watching videos, you're deep in research. But in the back of your head, if you're like me, you're kind of wondering like, okay, I'm reading about chickens, I'm reading about gardening. Like, how's it gonna go when I actually get there? Am I gonna fail? Am I gonna succeed? I'm kind of nervous. We breathe, we take it one day at a time, and we do all that we can. Something that's so important for Doug and I is just consistency. It's discipline. All the things that we want to do, a garden, cows, chickens, goats, all those things, we're not doing it overnight. And we also don't want to just jump in just because that's what we want if we're not ready. You know, the worst thing that we think that we could do is take on too much at once. And so it's a slow burn. It's a little bit each day. I just know that that little bit each day brings us to those future dreams. So that's a little bit about us. Long-winded, sorry. You'll learn a lot more about us and all of our dreams and all of those things in this video, I'm sure, and in all the videos that are to come. But let's kick off this farm tour, right? Let's see how the land looks, what we're working with, stuff that we've done so far, and the dreams that we want to fulfill in the future. All right, so we obviously have a house. Doug and I, when we're looking at land and looking for houses, to be quite honest, I feel like the house was like not the most important thing to us. The most important thing about the house was just the fact that we didn't want to renovate it. And so our house was built in 1978. It's cute. It's a farmhouse. I love it. And that's that. Moving from the house, we have this huge island, is what Doug and I call it. And we'll come back to this, but long story short, this island, when we came and looked at the house, was just a weed forest. And I did not want to move here because it just rubbed me the wrong way. But Doug convinced me anyway. The house is kind of at the top of a hill. And when you our driveway kind of circles up at the top and coming down, we have this 3-car garage that right now we just use as like an equipment house, a little storage shop. The previous owners just left stuff here, like that go-kart and that little kid thing, but we have nieces, so I can't complain. So moving from kind of like the house, we also have that little shed. In that shed is just a lot of our landscaping, kind of gardening tools. That little fence area right there, I have no idea truly what it was meant for in the past. People are like, that's a chicken coop. And I'm like, I don't know. And it doesn't give me garden vibes because it gets pretty much no sunlight. We're making that into just our huge compost pile. So that's kind of gonna just be our little compost area. I love this little path right here. So this path will take us into our back pasture, which is our largest pasture. I'd say it's roughly 7 acres, and our entire property is 18 acres. So this field is definitely our largest, and we were so lucky and blessed. Our whole entire property is fenced, and so we have 3 pastures that are fenced out, and we do have just kind of like an overarching fence that surrounds the whole property. It's not the easiest thing for me to describe, but we're fenced everywhere. And we have a lot of the connecting gates between pastures, and there's really paths all along the properties that will kind of connect you from one place to the other. And so we have burn piles that we do have to deal with, but in this pasture, pretty much wherever you're seeing this tree line, there's also fence. And then this is all fence right here. We'll talk about that in a bit. Let's talk about this field though. Biggest one. And previous owner had built a track around it because he liked to ride his toys. So for us, a focus for this pasture has been maintenance and getting seed down over that track, because we don't need a track. We won't have animals here. We have a 4-wheeler and we use it, but we use it more as a piece of equipment for the farm. We don't totally use it like a toy, just to kind of ride around. But we've spent a ton of time in this pasture the past month or so with a disc harrow, just agitating kind of the soil. We got some soil samples back. We figured out what kind of fertilizer we needed to give it kind of the TLC that it needed. And then we planted some fescue seed. It's rained the past few days, the past few weeks, so that should have helped it. But yeah, we're really right now in this pasture just focused on getting it healthy, because this will be a huge pasture for our animals in the future. Another thing we're focused on in this pasture is this fence line. And I say it with attitude because it's a long one. There's a lot of work to do, but we are just swarmed with Chinese privet all along this fence. And in some spots, it has just kind of put a hole in the fence, which isn't good when we have animals. And in other areas, it's just completely engulfed our sprinklers. So it's kind of messing with our irrigation system. So the past week or so, we've been out here after work every day, cutting things down with the Sawzall and the chainsaw. And I mean, all you could really do is just keep going bit by bit, getting it down, and then we'll be able to burn everything up. So this pasture's large. We have some of our neighbors' trees in here right now that we need to get rid of, but we didn't care if he wanted to put them there. But we're excited about this fence work because it completely opens up our view of the land. Before we cleared everything you see right here, you couldn't even see the barn from this spot. So that's what keeps me motivated. So we keep walking this pasture. We're fully fenced. Once we kind of go past those trees, that would be our neighbor's land. And then when we look down here, this is what I kind of mean when I say we have paths that connect us to a lot of the different areas. We have this path down here that will take us all the way up to the front pasture. Uh-oh. Where's baby bro? Where's your baby brother? This path definitely needs some love. When we first moved here and I rode the ATV through here, I was like eating branches. All right, so like I said, that path will take us up into this front pasture. And then we have this beautiful little view of our little pond, barn. I love this view. So front pasture. I love this front pasture. It's so open, it gets great sun. Look, those are our neighbors. Donkeys and goats. Hi guys! This pasture is roughly 5 acres. Again, vibes, dreams for this pasture, animals. Pastures are for animals. So that's kind of the end of our driveway. And that front pasture we just walked through. This fence starts our neighbor's land. Up here, definitely thinking some fruit trees, gets good sun. And kind of along this whole entire fence, we're thinking fruit trees. Okay, continuing down our driveway. Here it is, the piece of resistance, the pond. Now this pond, oh my gosh. So we have a bit of a water shield problem. We moved in with this problem and we wasted a bunch of time trying to fix this problem just to find out that we can't fix it and we have to pay someone to come out here on a boat and just spray it all. So that will be a spring expense. But we definitely are excited to get this pond cleared because it was a bit of a headache. So kind of like I was saying, we have done a lot, but it feels like a lot of what we've done isn't necessarily noticeable to a blind eye. But just a little bit more background. We moved onto this property the second week of June, and we were pretty ambitious, and we had a wedding on the property September 7th. And so a lot of what we were doing was kind of just aesthetic appearance work, getting the pastures cut down, because when we came they were grown up to our heads, and we spent a lot of time before the wedding trying to get the pond to look better. And like I said, we failed and we've learned a lot very quickly, and in that moment we learned that it was all a waste of time and there was nothing that we could do to make the pond look good in 3 months with just our hands. That's okay though. But let's bring it in here. So this is kind of that island area that I was talking about with the house, and so that was all weeds and it was just wood piles and disgusting. Our neighbor helped us a ton, and that was a huge project for us before the wedding. Another huge project for us was graveling this driveway that leads us straight into the barn. And another project, honestly, before the wedding was clearing the barn, because we were just left with a lot of fun stuff. And so we honestly ended up getting a dumpster and we just went to town. So let's go in the barn. So the barn was a mess. We cleaned everything. Cleaned it all out. They had left freezers here, tables, junk, everything, tires. We cleaned this whole space out so that Doug could have this beautiful workshop. All right, I'm back. My camera died when I was making the tour, and that was 2 months ago. And so now it's time to finish the tour. So I finished and I was showing y'all the barn. So this is Doug's workshop. We did a lot to clear this. There was a ton of stuff left in here, and you know, added some workbenches, organized tools. It's kind of messy right now, I think Doug would say, but we're like servicing the ATV and we're still just finding places for everything. So this will always stay a workshop. And then in here, we have 2 horse stalls. Again, it's not super organized in here. A lot of wood was left, but like the wood being left was honestly awesome because there's a lot of stuff that we can do. And I mean, there's like a washer and dryer in there. I didn't know Doug kept his shoes down here. You crazy cat. And so the plan in here is to obviously use it as a barn, and short term, and when I say short term, I probably mean like a few years. This horse stall is going to be converted into a chicken coop. So we made this little roosting bar. We have a little painting in here, and we just need to add the nesting boxes, and then we're going to chicken wire, or just hardwire the window at least, and hopefully nothing would jump down from up there, but we might learn the hard way. And just to also explain, there will be a automatic chicken door here because I don't know if I can get out this way. I don't think I can. Let me go around. But the only other thing to show in the barn is upstairs is like a loft area, which honestly we'll probably just use for storage. Yes, so Doug built this fence that you see right here, and the chicken door will go, you know, somewhere there so that we could set it on a timer and the chickens would be able to get in and out like sunrise to sundown. And what we have decided to do, that we still need to do, obviously we need a gate there to close it in. And then, you know, for a while we were thinking that we would free range the chickens. I feel like it's so enticing to just, when you have all of the space, to just want to throw them out there. But I mean, we're not getting a livestock guardian dog. We already have 2 dogs. They're not going to do that for us. And so adding a 3rd dog to the mix, it just doesn't make sense. It really wouldn't work for us. And if we just let the chickens free range out here, I mean, I literally feel like it would be a buffet for hawks. Obviously, we wouldn't let them stay outside during the nighttime, so I wouldn't be too concerned about like foxes or raccoons during the day when they'd be out here, but I mean, there would just be hawks hawking. So what we are going to do is we're going to cover the run. I think we may try not to, but then we're just going to kind of extend a little square area to kind of where that opening is. And this would just be their little playpen. And I mean, honestly, I think during the day, that's fine. Especially if we're not out here, I think that that would be somewhat fine. But like on weekends, like a day like today, and we're out here doing work all day. Today's Saturday now. Like, I think that they could free range when we're out here. I mean, we're about to work on that fence for the next few hours. We're working around the barn. So I don't know, if we're in here and a hawk wants to try and fly down while there are chickens roaming around, I mean, they're pretty bold for that. So this pasture is the middle pasture. It's honestly the smallest one. This will just have animals on it one day, I'm sure. Again, like I said, we'll definitely have some chickens out here to roam around when we're out here. Over there, we did plant some apple trees because it gets good sun and the soil was good. But all we've really done in here so far is we discarrowed it a little bit and we amended with some 1010 per a soil sample that we got back. But yeah, I mean, that's really it so far. This is just an area where we'll continue to work on amending the soil. We'll continue to plant more seed just to kind of beef up the pasture so that when we do have cows or goats, chickens, whatever, they have some great stuff to feed on. All right, so we do have 3 blueberry bushes that we planted a few months ago, kind of on this side of the fence. And we planted 6 apple trees. I think it's a mix of like red and yellow delicious, Fuji, and Gala. I don't remember how many of each. I mean, we only have 6 trees, so it couldn't be too many of all of them, but we have our apple trees here. We have our blueberry bushes here. I think that in the spring, so honestly, like in a month or so, we might add 2 or 3 more blueberry bushes. And, you know, if it were up to me, I would love to add some cherry trees and some peach trees. But that's just me. We just drink so much cherry juice that, like, in my head, you know, let's plant some cherry trees and in a few years we'll get cherries and we could just make our own cherry juice. I don't know if we'll do that this spring, but if we did, that'd be cool. Someone comment on this video and say, Doug, y'all should plant some cherry trees. Okay, we're kind of approaching the end of this tour. The last thing to really kind of hit on and talk about is this area, which is going to become our garden, which we're going to work on today, and I'm so freaking excited. So this is a pretty large area. It's right by our well, so our water source is good. Obviously, like right now, it's probably, I think it's like 11:30. It might be 11 or it might be 12. It might be 1 p.m. for all I know. I don't know, but the sunlight is hitting. And so sun-wise, it's great. We have our water source. Obviously, if we were kind of going to plant on this slope, we would have drainage issues, but drainage-wise, it's very flat, so we're pretty good here. And yeah, we did a soil test a few months back. We amended with 1010 again, and we added some lime. Today, we really want to start on just tilling kind of this whole entire area. We're just going to do like a huge rectangle and plant in ground in rows. I'm just so excited. Like, the garden is definitely something that excites me in terms of providing for our family, ourselves, loved ones, and our community. I just have this dream of literally, you know, obviously providing for ourselves and our future family, and just growing our own food and stocking our pantry and making recipes with it. Obviously that excites me, but I just am so excited about the idea of having leftovers and having so much extra and having all this space to grow a ton and to just bring it to church on a Sunday and just hear who wants cabbage or onions. It's hard for me mentally sometimes when you have so much space to do stuff. You just want to start doing it all. Like, I'm sitting here looking at this pasture and I'm like, why don't we just throw some cows on there? I mean, let's just do it. Up on the top of the hill, we did do some tulips kind of right in this little patch right there. So hopefully those sprout in the next few months. But that is pretty much it. That is the farm tour. Some of our goals and our dreams. Doug's working on the tractor right now, so I doubt I could get him to share. He's like in his tractor zone, but yeah, I mean, we just dream of growing our own food, raising animals with care, tending to God's creation, and kind of growing closer to God through doing that. It's literally a dream come true just to be here and to be making this video right now. So something I just always have to remind myself is to just like slow down and to take it all in. We're not in a rush. It's not a race. It's not a competition. It's literally just learning and doing a little bit each day just to make these dreams come true. So 2025, by the way, it's February 1st, 2025 right now when I'm finishing this video. We obviously have the dream of growing a garden and growing our own food. That's obviously a huge goal, to have a spring, summer, and fall garden. Another huge goal this year for us is to start a flock of hens, of laying hens, and to, I think we said that by July we want to be collecting like 70 eggs a week from our hens. Again, we'll obviously be keeping some for ourselves. We eat eggs every single morning for breakfast, and I love to bake and use eggs, but I'd love to also sell the eggs or just bring the eggs to church and just give people eggs, man. I'm so tired of paying $9 a dozen. It should be illegal. But that was another huge goal for us, to get that laying hen flock started, to learn how to raise chicks, to learn how to take care of chickens and protect them and keep them safe. So that is another huge goal for us in 2025. And then our last kind of ambitious goal, Doug's looking at me. Okay, I'm gonna get him to come. Our last ambitious goal is, by the end of the year, is to have some business cows. The business cows, they'll wear little suits and tuxes and they'll have little briefcases. No, the business cows, essentially, our neighbor does this and we've already started to learn a lot from him, but you just raise the cattle to be strong and healthy, and then you sell them at auction for more than you bought them for. So that's something that we would love to kind of get into and start dipping our toes in. And so Doug wants to start that by the end of this year. And to me, I'm like, isn't that ambitious? Like, but what's life without being ambitious? So that's another goal. And then obviously we have some business goals. Like, I'd love to grow the YouTube and get the blog going and all of those things. And we're just gonna take y'all along every step of the way. Here's my partner in crime, Doug St. Amon.
Hey there.
Doug, I gave a farm tour.
I made a snack.
Snacks are encouraged. And then at the end I was talking about our goals. I said like the garden, talked about the chickens and the business cows.
Yes, in their suits and ties.
Yes, business cows in their suits and ties. I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to share.
No, I'm learning every day. I'm excited.
Yep.
I love you.
I love you.
I can't wait for the business cows.
I know. So thanks for joining us. Poppy Joe's Pastures will be posting one video every single week on Sundays. It'll be an assortment of farm projects, updates, before and afters, learning curves, life lessons, recipes, vlogs, just all of the farm homestead goodness.
Can't wait.